Series premiere Monday, February 10th on Fox.
Tanya Bach, tonight on KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14.
You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Right now at 7, a holiday tradition in Miami makes a comeback after COVID forced it to pause. Our very own Samantha Walker shares this incredible journey back.
Also, volunteers in Missouri are working hard to ensure that everyone stays warm during the winter months.
And we've got dense fog across the area this morning, zero visibility in some cases. We'll have a look at that forecast to get you out the door coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Elise Snowy.
And I'm Chris Warner. It's just after 7 a.m. on this Monday, December the 9th, and it has felt like a Monday all morning long. It's been a little bit of a slow start, It seems, and then the weather outside does not help either. The weather outside is frightful.
Right. It's a little bit foggy out there.
We don't have any fires, so we don't really have anything particularly delightful inside, but
sure.
see, that's what.
But you know what? It was a delightful weekend for people in Miami. Now, for years, a beloved tradition in Miami were the holiday home tours, which helped inspire decorating across the community. But like many things, COVID-19 led to the activity being paused, and for years, it didn't come back.
But the community has come together to bring this holiday tradition back to life. KOAM's Samantha Walker has more.
From the moment she welcomes you into her home, it's clear to see Trinda Crow loves Christmas.
I think it's fabulous. I have a vintage Santa collection, so anytime I can talk about my guys in red, I'm very happy about that. And I want people to feel at home and to feel comfortable and welcomed.
Crow serves on the Christmas decorating committee in Miami and is one of the 6 homes featured in the relaunched holiday home tours. She's opening her home up to both friends and strangers for the tours, the first one in several years.
We wanted to provide something for the families to come and see on a Sunday afternoon and get some decorating ideas and spend some time together.
Event organizers say the tour tradition brings new meaning to coming home for the holidays.
I think it goes back to coming home for Christmas. It's the hometown feel. It's being made to feel special. It's having those memories of what it looked like in Miami on Main Street when they were little. And so we try to encompass all of that in the coming home for Christmas theme this year.
And for some attendees, that's exactly what the holiday home tours inspired them to do.
I grew up in Miami. We used to live here, and we've never done this. So we thought we'd come out and enjoy today and see how everybody decorated and kind of get into the Christmas spirit.
Tanya Bryan and her mother Angie now live in Arkansas, but when they heard about the tours, they decided to take the opportunity to make a mother-daughter trip back to Miami to get into the holiday spirit.
I am alone now, and I've sold my home and moved into a senior apartment, so it's really Christmas for me.
We get to share it together, so that makes it even better.
Yes.
And letting people come together and create these holiday memories is something organizers hope to see for years to come.
We do. It's the Miami Main Street intent to continue our homes tours and continue to add decorations down Main Street and add activities and festivities to everything that we do.
In Miami, Samantha Walker, KOAM News.
Now, all proceeds from the holiday homes tours will go to benefit Miami Main Street and the Downtown Miami Christmas Foundation.
Certainly great to see things coming back. I know for a lot of folks it was determining how to do that, and
sure.
Now that we're a little further into everything, it's getting a little easier to determine how you can bring stuff back, or maybe even just remembering, like, oh yeah, that's right. We stopped that. We should probably try and get it going again.
Yeah, very cool to see.
Very, very cool indeed. Well, you can't see very well, though, if you're driving across parts of Kansas, Oklahoma this morning, as we've got very dense fog out there. Taking a look from our camera downtown Pittsburgh. Now, Pittsburgh itself still reporting the 0.3 of a mile visibility. However, as you can see, it has improved a little. We can see a little more out there, but still pretty dense fog. Looking not too bad from MoDOT camera 20th and Rangeline in Joplin, but dense fog advisories continue across the entire western half of our area. 10 a.m. for Kansas and 9 a.m. for northeastern Oklahoma, and here's why. Take a look at this. Most of the state of Kansas in our immediate area has been blacked out by dense fog colors on here. Okay, this is closer to the color the map should be. Look at this. Zero visibility in Iola, significantly reduced visibilities. Every community on this map in southeast Kansas, less than a mile of visibility. That is, of course, spreading down into Oklahoma, hence the dense fog advisories down there, and it's trying to get into the Missouri side of things as well, up along the I-49 corridor. So remember, low beams, not your high beams, fog lights if you've got them, and drive slowly. It is better to arrive late than not at all, and with fog this dense across such a broad area and every major highway out there, you've got to be careful this morning. We'll have patchy fog drizzle through noon, maybe even 1 o'clock, so slightly reduced visibility is a little longer than usual. Otherwise cloudy and not too bad temperature-wise. We'll go mostly cloudy this evening, partly cloudy as we head later into the evening as a cold front pushes through. That shifts our winds out of the north and make us cold tonight. 48 Joplin, you can see that fog in Pittsburgh there, 46. And across the area, majority of us have spent the day in the mid to upper 40s, still some 50s, Nowata, Veneta, and Miami. We're looking at highs eventually today, making the low 50s. Patchy fog, drizzle continuing through about 1, and the skies clearing and temperatures dropping as we head late this evening into the overnight. We'll have a full forecast and the 5th straight week of roller coaster temperatures here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, Joplin first responders were alerted to a house fire from the 700 block of South Roosevelt early Sunday morning. Flames and smoke were visible near the rear end of the single-story home. The visible flames were extinguished within 5 minutes, but firefighters spent some time working on the roof as the fire had extended, but not breached the roof decking. There were no injuries to the residents or the firefighters. A man has been killed after he was struck by a vehicle Friday night. A man was crossing Missouri Highway 171 on foot when he was struck by a 2000 Ford F-150. The man's next of kin has been notified, and the 17-year-old driver of the pickup was not injured. An Asbury woman was killed in a car accident Saturday when her vehicle was T-boned by a driver under the influence. The 36-year-old woman was transported to a hospital where she died of her injuries. The 20-year-old male, identified as Malachi Doyle of Topeka, Kansas, was arrested. He is being charged with a felony driving while under the influence of drugs, causing the death of another, and failure to yield. And to be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, you can download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. Across the 4 states, we've already felt some of the cold temperatures and chilly winds that come as winter nears. A volunteer group, Chase the Chill of Southwest Missouri, is working to help keep people warm, a mission they've had for the past 10 years. KOAM Samantha Walker met up with the group as they prepare to distribute a record number of hats, scarves, and gloves across the Joplin area.
We have, almost 2,200 hats, gloves, and scarves.
More than 2,000 winter items this year is a record-breaking number for Chase the Chill Southwest Missouri. Donations are often knitted or crocheted by hand, with volunteers hoping to support the community by doing what they love.
If you don't have to knit or crochet, you can also just go buy something. And then we literally just try to keep everyone warm as much as we can in the winter.
In the past 10 years, more than 10,000 scarves, hats, or gloves have been given out for free in the Joplin area to those who need it. This year, the city of Joplin even recognized their work, with the mayor proclaiming December Chase the Chill Month. Chase the Chill Southwest Missouri draws volunteers from various organizations and age groups. Participants say it's a great way to give back.
Like the idea of helping the community stay warm during the winter, and getting to volunteer for something.
Andrew and Jansen both help by joining their families and distributing the winter wear across the community. It's something they've done for several years now.
They can get what they need so that they can stay warm during the winter, during the cold times.
Volunteers take bags like this, filled with donations, and they're encouraged to go out into the community and find local parks, benches, or old trolley stops to lay out the donations so that way people who may need them can feel free to take them and use them throughout this winter.
the day that we went out and we distributed all over town, I was driving down 32nd Street and I saw a woman wearing a scarf that I had knitted. And that lady, she was just so happy, and it just it just makes you feel good inside when you can make somebody else happy with just a little gesture like that.
For volunteers like Andrew and Jansen, they hope more volunteers, especially young people like them, step up in the future so the cycle of giving can continue for years to come.
I think it's important because, like, if young people didn't get involved, like, there wouldn't be as many people.
The community needs your help, so if you decide that you want to come help, you can show up and then you can help whoever needs it.
In Joplin, Samantha Walker, KOAM News.
This year, volunteers with the Chase the Chill Southwest Missouri also made 112 pet sweaters, so even our four-legged friends can stay warm this winter. And those are our top news stories this half hour. Coming up next, Lori is back in the studio sharing her recipe for bourbon chocolate sugar cookies. Welcome back. Laura Horton has been showing us her recipe for bourbon chocolate sugar cookies. Now we've prepped our sugar. Yes. What's the next few steps?
All right, we prepped our sugar. We chopped our semi-sweet baking chocolate, that kind of little bit bitter chocolate that you find when you bake. We're ready to start actually putting together our cookie dough now. So it's not an unusual recipe in our basic ingredients, but we've got just a couple things. It's going to make a really nice chocolatey, cocoa-y kind of a flavored sugar cookie, and then that little hint of bourbon in there. So I started already with my butter and shortening. Okay. So this is kind of one of those that's a little bit different. We add that shortening in there instead of just a straight butter base. And I'm a huge fan of those Crisco sticks when it comes to that. It makes it so much easier for measuring. Oh, so nice. So we've got those creamed together, and you do want to really give those a good mix so we make sure that they're fully incorporated. The next thing we want to do is stack our ingredients in a pretty specific order just to make sure everything does get mixed together well. And you're going to mix after every single ingredient. Okay. So kind of a little bit, we're going to make a little bit of noise here, but we're going to start with our sugars, and you can do the white sugar or the brown sugar. Now in my recipe, I always use a light brown sugar in this. If you like a little bit richer taste to that, dark brown sugar is fine too. It's not going to substantially change that. Okay. But some people really love that with a chocolate, so that's fine too. Go for what your favorite is. But we're just going to give those a little mix after each one just to get them kind of incorporated and get it creamy. We're going for a really nice smooth dough after every layer. And so we're going to add next an egg and one yolk. So again, not 2 full eggs, just the one egg and then the one yolk. Don't add that extra white. And just every time we're going to give it that mix just to kind of get everything blended. It's going to stay nicely incorporated. So if you guys can see my batter on there, every single ingredient that we add in there, it's staying really nice and creamy and just looking like a nice fluffy cookie dough. The next one we have up, we come back to our adult beverage part of the segment. Just a nice, inexpensive bourbon. We're going to add 3 tablespoons of that. And if that is of any concern to you, you can, of course, add a flavoring or an extract instead. But just keep in mind that, of course, all of the alcohol is going to evaporate as you bake these. So it's not going to leave any of that behind. It's just going to leave that flavor. So we're going to give that a little mix in there, and we can really smell that right off the bat. It's just going to be very distinctive. And then our next thing we're going to add is we're going to get to our dry ingredients. Okay. So this is where we want to make sure all of our wet things are nicely incorporated. We're adding a pretty good chunk of flour, and you may want to do this in a couple of rounds so that you don't make too much of a mess, or just have a nice big bowl so that you can kind of move that around. And you don't have to continue with your power mixer at this point. You can just do this by hand. Okay, easy. We've got our baking soda, salt, all of the standard things, and our cocoa powder. Once those are all mixed in, last thing will be our chocolate. When we come back, we'll add that crackle.
Sounds delicious. All right, thanks, Lori. Stick around. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Lori is showing us last few steps for her bourbon chocolate sugar cookies. Now we've made our cookie dough. What's left, Lori?
All right, the last step is just to get that really pretty sugary crackle on the top that we're going to put on there before we bake. So we've got all of those ingredients fully incorporated together. We've got a really nice stiff dough. You can see that supports my spatula well, but it's not so stiff that you can't do those last steps by hand.
Perfect.
So don't burn out your hand mixer.
Right.
It's not the time of year for that. Just go ahead and stir that last in with the spatula. So we've got our turbinado sugar, our raw sugar here, and that's that big crystal that we started with, and we added just a little bit, just a few teaspoons of bourbon to that to soak before we started all of this. It's been soaking for about an hour, so it should be nicely incorporated as well. I'm going to take kind of a small to medium sized cookie scoop there, and we're just going to pop a couple of balls of our cookie dough right in there, and then you just want to roll them in that sugar infused, that bourbon infused sugar. Get a little bit all the way around, almost like you would do if you're making a snickerdoodle, but with that bigger grain sugar. These don't rise a lot. They spread just a little bit, so you can probably put 8 on your regular cookie sheet. You don't want to give them too much space, but you don't need to pack them too closely together either. And we're going to pop those on for the typical 350 degrees. Now our recipe on there, when you go to check this out, hopefully later on KOAMnewsnow.com, you're going to find that list of ingredients in the order that you need to add them to your mixture. You're also going to notice that that says to bake for about 12 to 15 minutes. And that's really going to depend on the day. I baked these yesterday afternoon, and actually about 10 minutes was
10
perfect.
minutes was good enough?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if it's a little extra dry, if that weather is a little funky, don't be afraid to dial those baking temps back. You can always add more and leave them in for a little bit extra. But if you over bake them, you get that really firm bottom. And these should be a really light, crisp cookie with that crackle top.
It's kind of hard to see, like, if it's golden brown enough because of the
exactly.
chocolate and
With
the
the
raw
chocolate,
sugar.
it's very hard to gauge that. So what you're really going to see is when you pull those out of the oven to check, of course, you're going to have a little bit of a crackle edge. You're still going to have a poof in the middle that will settle as they start to cool. And you'll lose that really, really shiny center that you start to see as they're about half done. So it is. I know with the chocolate cookie, it's always hard to tell. You know, you get those nice golden edges. It's easy when it's a regular sugar cookie, but this one does make it a little more of a challenge. I think it matters also whether or not you use a light aluminum pan versus a dark one. I always prefer those light colored ones. They tend to bake a little more evenly, and you don't get as dark of a bottom to your cookie with that because they just don't conduct quite as much heat. So use your favorites, parchment liner as usual, because that makes them a little bit easier for the cleanup, which we're all a big fan of. These are great for cookie exchanges, for those teacher gifts, you know, quick and easy, and this makes about 3 dozen. So it's a good size batch.
Absolutely. Well, these look absolutely delicious. Thank you so much for being with us this morning, Lori.
Thank you.
We'll be right back with more news and weather after this.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. 725 coming up on 726. And we have dense fog advisory still for the entire western half of our area. 10 a.m. is when they expire in Kansas, 9 a.m. in the northeast Oklahoma. And this is why. Look at this dense fog. I don't think I've seen it this dense over such a broad area. We have got less than a mile of visibility all across southeastern Kansas and now stretching into northeastern Oklahoma. So that's Nowata, Sedan, Independence, Parsons, Pittsburgh, Chinook, Fredonia, Yates Center, Iola, Fort Scott, and everybody in between. So you've got to slow down. Low beams, not your high beams. Fog lights if you have them. And again, better to be a few minutes late than not arrive at all. And the other thing is this is impacting every major highway across parts of southeast Kansas and northeast Oklahoma, and it is trying to spread into the Missouri side of things with reduced visibilities. Nevada, Stockton, Anderson out there. So again, just slow down, all right? It's not worth it. Just be easy. And the other reason you really want to slow down, We've had drizzle out there across the region throughout the morning. Some of the reduced visibilities are as a result of heavy drizzle. That means the roadways are wet. That means they are slick. So you definitely want to slow down out there, because if something suddenly appears in front of you in that fog, you are not going to be able to stop in time. Absolutely not. Drizzle, patchy drizzle, maybe even some light fog continues through about noon, 1 o'clock. So while we're not expecting the same reduced visibilities like we're seeing now later this morning into the early afternoon, we could still have some slightly reduced visibilities for that lunch hour commute, so just keep that in mind. Otherwise, we are cloudy, not doing too bad in terms of temperatures. By the evening hours, we are mostly cloudy. Cold front pushes through, and again, initially, the only way you're going to know the cold front has made it through your areas, the winds will shift out of the north. It doesn't really start to drop our temperatures until overnight tonight. We'll go partly cloudy, and we're going to plummet back down in the low 30s out there. We'll also have a north wind tonight, gusting upwards of 20. That continues into our Tuesday. We're still partly cloudy, and we're cold again, upper 30s, low 40s. Which means, of course, it's going to be cold again Tuesday night into Wednesday, starting our Wednesday in the 20s, and then we'll go back into the upper 30s and low 40s as we head into Wednesday afternoon. So Wednesday and Tuesday, nearly identical days. Our camera 7th and range line, you can see the low clouds out there, and you can see the fog off in the horizon, but not as dense in Joplin right now. But the airport now reporting down to 3 miles of visibility, 48. Winds are calm and otherwise cloudy. There's that cold front, but again, we won't really notice its impacts until late this evening. Temperatures this morning, mid-upper 40s, and we still have at least one 50-degree reading, and that is in Miami. Through the morning, we'll have that fog, the drizzle out there. Temperatures not moving much, 47 to start and 50 by 11 a.m. Into the afternoon, again, low 50s for highs. I think almost all of us should at least make the low 50s. Northwest breeze 5 to 10. North winds gusting to 20 tonight, partly cloudy. Low 40s by 10, upper 20s, low 30s tonight. I think most of us should be in the low 30s. And then again, cold as this roller coaster ride continues. We dip back down, but it's short. We go into the weekend, back into the upper 50s, near 60, with some rain chances Monday and another big drop in temperatures from Tuesday into Wednesday of next week. That's checking your forecast. We'll be back with more right after this.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's just coming up on 7:32. I'm Elise Snowy. The Artificers in Fort Scott held their Christmas show Sunday. 9 artists whose art forms include pastels, clay pottery, and mixed media sculpture were available for people to learn from. 22 artists in total from all over the world had some form of art represented at the showcase.
Keep creating. Art is very subjective. I think that's the hardest part of being an artist, is always doubting yourself or comparing yourself to another artist. And just because you don't think you're as good as another artist doesn't mean that your art is not quality and doesn't have a space somewhere. We all have a space to be an artist.
The Christmas show is part of Fort Scott's Christmas on the Bricks event. The Missouri Southern Choral Society hosted its 45th holiday concert at the First Community Church in Joplin. The songs performed include Silent Night, Carol of the Bells, and Charlie Brown Christmas, and many more. Special performances were also included from students at MSSU.
I just love being a part of the music and a part of the fellowship of this group. We come together to sing and to make beautiful music, and to do that in community.
The Choral Society has been working on this performance since August. The Southwest Missouri Hmong Association is holding its 20th annual Hmong New Year celebration in Granby. The New Year celebration allows residents to interact with Hmong culture. The Hmong people in Southwest Missouri can trace their heritage back to China and Southeast Asia 4,000 years ago. The celebration includes traditional folk music, a fashion show, lunch, and a traditional dance competition.
It's still so important for us to keep our roots, to keep our identity of who we are as a Hmong American, but also to be able to share that with our community. So in the next coming year, I hope that we could get more of our community to come join us so that we can share our culture with all the other Americans, because we're all here for the same reason. We're all one American family, and I want everyone to be united as an American family.
Around 1,300 Hmong people call Missouri home. Now let's check in with Chris for a quick look at the forecast.
Yeah, we've got dense fog across the area this morning. We've got to be worrying about. Our camera downtown Pittsburgh, again, it looks a little better, but you can still see fog hanging in across the downtown region. Pittsburgh itself reporting 0.3 of a mile of visibility still. MoDOT camera 20th in range line, slight improvements here, but still some fog is visible. And as we look at the dense fog advisories, again, the entire western half of our area, dense fog advisories. Kansas through 10 a.m. and northeast Oklahoma through 9. And this is the exact reason why. Look at all of this dense fog. We've seen it, but it's typically isolated in maybe a 1 to 3 county area. It is across all of Kansas, stretching into Oklahoma. We have visibilities below 1 mile in nearly every community in southeast Kansas. Iola reporting 0 visibility still, and it's continuing to drop into northeast Oklahoma and trying to spread a little eastward along the I-49 corridor on the Missouri side of things. So remember, low beams, not your high beams, fog lights if you have them. Slow down, give yourself time to get where you're going. Patchy fog, even some patchy drizzle continuing through noon, maybe 1, so still some slightly reduced visibilities, but we'll have some improvements between here and there. Otherwise, cloudy heading into the afternoon, mostly cloudy by the evening. Cold front pushes through. Partly cloudy overnight tonight, and we will eventually get pretty darn cold. Not bad now, though. 47 in Joplin, 46 in Pittsburgh. Temperature's pretty steady. Here's that cold front. It's not really having a big impact. Won't have a big impact again until overnight tonight, but we've got upper 40s. We've even got 50 still in Miami. Highs today, I think just about all of us should at least make the low 50s out there. Fog, drizzle through noon, 1 o'clock. Mostly cloudy and then clearing skies and much colder air tonight, along with gusty winds. Details on all that in the full forecast, and that's just around the corner. Elise?
All right, thanks, Chris. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. A Houston teacher reminds us that it's never too late to pursue your dreams. In Consumer Watch this morning, Google challenges a federal agency's supervision ruling for its pay app services. The tech giant is suing the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau over its decision to force Google's pay services into federal supervision. The agency took supervisory control over the services, citing customer complaints and failing to properly take care of money transfer errors. Now, the CFPB says discontinuing the service doesn't release Google from agency supervision. Well, a new federal rule could help flyers get their money back on canceled flights. A proposed rule from the Department of Transportation is expected to require compensation to passengers stuck for extra costs when their flights are canceled or delayed. New regulations under the proposal could include between $200 to almost $800 in compensation if canceled or delayed flights are caused by the carrier. Well, new data from Adobe Analytics says retailers like Walmart, Amazon, Temu, and Shein did exceptionally well during Black Friday sales. Walmart made a record-breaking sales and helped by hauls with Rolex watches, Pokemon cards, Sabrina Carpenter perfumes, and both the Target and Best Buy did not fare as they did a year ago. Americans spent $10.8 billion on Black Friday and $13.3 billion on Cyber Monday. Well, you've still got plenty of time to knock out that holiday shopping list, and retailers this year are trying out some new strategies to get your attention. Fox News correspondent CB Cotton has more.
The holiday shopping season is off and running with a strong start over the Black Friday weekend. MasterCard reports a 14% increase in e-commerce sales compared to a year ago. Of those online sales, more people than ever are using their phones. More than half of Cyber Monday sales were purchased using mobile devices where customers can get access to unique discounts.
Retailers can provide them with those personalized offers that consumers are really looking for.
Adjusted for inflation, sales at brick-and-mortar stores actually fell, but experts say that can be misleading.
Most shopping still occurs in America inside of a store. Yes, there are lots of people who are shopping online, but we're still seeing greater than 80% of all sales in retail happen inside of a store.
The National Retail Federation reports shoppers spent slightly more this year over Black Friday weekend, an average of $235, up $8 from a year ago. The most popular purchases include apparel, toys, gift cards, candy and food, and personal care items. Retailers are also trying out new AI chatbots to help recommend products, but experts say they work better when they learn a little bit about what exactly you're looking for. And that runs the risk of rubbing some people the wrong way.
I think there's one major step that needs to happen for mass consumer trust, and that's to some degree the chatbot needing to be able to show its work.
Amazon and Walmart are among those retailers rolling out AI chatbots on their websites this year. In New York, CB Cotton, Fox News.
And those are our top consumer stories. Let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 7:44 now on this Monday morning, and we have dense fog advisories the entire western half of our area. Kansas through 10 a.m., Oklahoma through 9 a.m., and this is the reason why. Look at this dense fog. Now Joplin is reporting. I want to take a look at something. I can't see it very well from there. Joplin now below a mile of visibility. I was checking our camera at 7th and Rangeline. Looks like, again, this number, most of these come from airports or from the best weather reporting station they've got. Fort Scott, Iola, 0 visibility. Yates Center, Chanute, 0.2 of a mile. We are talking up to the I-49 corridor, significantly reduced visibility. This is impacting every major highway from I-49 and points west. You've got to use your low beams, not your high beams. Slow down. Take time to get where you're going, okay? And it is better to arrive a few minutes late than not arrive at all. Let's take a look into the afternoon. So some of the reduced visibilities aren't the direct result of fog. Some of it is heavy drizzle that's out there as well. And we get a patchy drizzle and even patchy fog as late as 1 o'clock today. While the visibilities should improve by late morning into the afternoon, we could still have some patchy areas of reduced visibility, so just be aware of that. It's a little unusual for us to have reduced visibilities into the early afternoon, but that is a possibility. Otherwise, we are cloudy. We're not too bad on temperatures. Cold front comes through, but initially, the only thing we at first will notice with the cold front is winds will shift out of the north behind it, could start gusting upwards of 20. Temperatures don't drop off immediately. Thanks to the cloud cover, it does help us a little bit, but it won't last. We're mostly cloudy by the evening. Skies begin to clear, partly cloudy overnight. Temperatures drop down into the 30s. Winds pick up tomorrow, start gusting out of the north 25, maybe 30 miles an hour. So we're in the low 30s to start our Tuesday. Partly cloudy skies, eventually highs, upper 30s, low 40s for many of us. We go into Tuesday night, into Wednesday, it gets even colder, still partly cloudy. Now we're falling back, a lot of us, into the upper 20s to start our day on Wednesday. And so it's going to be another cold one as we're only into the upper 30s and low 40s once again ahead of another warm up by this weekend. All right, this is what I was looking for. So if you look off in the horizon, see how the fog starts to thicken up off to the north. Of course, the airport is up on the north side of the city. They're the ones reporting those reduced visibilities out there. 47 is where we're sitting in Joplin. There's that cold front. And while temperatures are a little cooler, it's not a significant drop behind this thing, at least not yet. We're still holding on mid-upper 40s across the region as we get our Monday underway. Temperatures not moving much through the morning hours. 47 to start, 50 by 11. Fog, drizzle, and otherwise cloudy skies. So again, upper 40s. I think all of us, or just about all of us, should make at least the low 50s today. Upper 30s, low 40s Tuesday, Wednesday. Then we start warming up near 60 Friday, Saturday, maybe a few showers, a few morning sprinkles on Saturday. A little cooler Sunday. We warm back up Monday. Then we have another cool down. Rain chances on Monday and temperatures dropping once again as we head into the middle of next week, which if they continue to bounce around like that, next week will make 6 straight weeks of these up and down temperatures. That's checking your forecast. We're back with more right after this.
Well, here's a story that reminds us it's never too late to pursue your dreams.
Janet Chamleon introduces us to a second grade math teacher who changes his focus to style influencer after the last spell of the day.
By day, Irvin Randall is a second grade math teacher in Houston. A grandfather married almost 4 decades. But after school, you can often find him here.
Look sideways. Boom. Nice. Do that one more time.
on the city's downtown streets, followed by a camera, dressed to the nines, and looking like a 10.
I've been dressing like this all my life. This is nothing new.
So you started taking pictures of yourself because you thought, man, I'm a good dresser?
Yes, I just wanted to show everybody how I dress, yes.
20 or 30 likes became 1,000 per post, and then 30,000.
How many followers?
Instagram is about 1.1 million.
TikTok?
TikTok is about 1.7 million.
The 63-year-old does know how to turn it on for the camera.
Something in me turns on, and I have a swagger in me that comes out like a beast.
He's also a skilled shopper.
This is my closet.
Randall's side hustle, he earns money from brands for wearing their products, allows him to indulge his love of clothes, shoes, and especially hats.
What is with the hats?
I think it just dignifies a man. It shows that you're a gentleman.
He's got almost 100.
Do you make more money from teaching second grade in Houston, Texas, or from social media?
Social media.
By a factor of?
Oh my God, if I told you, you'll fall out, so I'm not gonna tell you.
Randall has spread that wealth with a group of equally stylish men. They call themselves the Silver Fox Squad, and they make appearances at charity events like fashion shows. It's not the only group he's voguing for, keenly aware of and embracing being a role model for his kids.
They do watch me carefully. You know, they watch me. Hey, Mr. Randall, are those some new tennis shoes you got on?
Do they?
Oh, yeah. Is that a new watch? I like that watch. You know, and you're supposed to be watching me teach you something, but you're watching other things. So they watch me very carefully.
2, 1, and go for it.
If looks could kill, Irvin Randall's second act
That's a wrap.
might just be illegal. I'm Janet Shamlian in Houston.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
I wish I could
what
be
a
that
cool
cool when I'm in my
guy.
60s. He doesn't even look like he's in his 60s. Not in the
Doing what he loves,
slightest.
teaching by day and being a fashion influencer by night. It's super
Hey,
cool to
yeah.
see. Look at him go.
It works out. And if he was walking the streets in our area, you probably wouldn't be able to find him because we've still got some very dense fog to contend with. Quick reminder on those dense fog advisories, the entire western half of our area, Kansas through 10 a.m., Oklahoma through 9, and there is why. Look at this dense fog. We've got zero visibility. Fort Scott, Iola, it is stretching now as far east as the I-49 corridor, so virtually every major highway and any roadway really from I-49 west being influenced by dense fog. So again, low beams, not your high beams. Fog lights if you've got them. Slow down. Watch out for slick spots and just be careful this morning, all right? We'll have another look at your forecast and the news you need to know right after this.
And here's a check of today's top headlines. The news you need to know before you head out the door. 20-year-old Malachi Doyle of Topeka has been arrested after he T-boned another car. The 36-year-old woman from Asbury was transported to a hospital where she later died from her injuries. Doyle is being charged with a felony driving while under the influence of drugs, causing the death of another and failure to yield. Joplin's first responders were alerted to a house fire from the 700 block of South Roosevelt early yesterday morning. Visible flames were extinguished within 5 minutes, but firefighters spent some time working on the roof as the fire had extended but not breached the roof decking. There were no injuries to the residents or the firefighters. Around 200 kids were given a chance to shop with the COP this weekend, and each kid has chosen teachers, school counselors, or other school leaders to shop on the day. A Shop with the COP is an annual event giving the chance for kids to participate every year.
And we've got to contend with that fog through the morning hours and maybe even some patchy drizzle. We'll see temperatures slowly going up. 47 to start, 50 by 11 o'clock. We're looking at highs today. I think just about all of us should make the low 50s. Reduced visibilities could continue through 1 o'clock. Keep that in mind. Otherwise, partly cloudy. Northwest breeze 5 to 10. Cold front sweeps through. Partly cloudy. Low 40s by 10. Partly cloudy overnight. Breezy. Lows in the 30s. And winds gusting to 20. Increasing tomorrow, 20 to 25. Temperatures upper 30s, low 40s Tuesday, Wednesday. We'll start warming back up again toward Thursday and Friday with a few shower chances on Friday.
Alrighty. Well, Joplin and Seneca police officers took a few kids Christmas shopping over the weekend. Captain Will Davis of the Joplin Police Department says that around 200 kids got the chance to shop with a cop.
Each kid has chosen teachers, school counselors, or other school leaders to shop on this day. Now, Shop with a Cop is an annual event giving the chance for kids to participate every year. And it's a very, very important program, very cool program for sure. And it's a lot of fun. They get to hang out with police officers.
Absolutely.
That's a lot of fun.
Very cool to see.
Well, thank you all so much for letting us put the good in your morning. We're going to be back with more news and weather today at noon.
Have a great rest of your morning.